Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, okay, guys. Happy New Year.
Happy
Good
New
morning.
Year.
There we go. More energy. Okay, just a couple of announcements before we get started. Base camp tomorrow is going to be with George. It's kicking off the new year. It's going to be a 2-hour session from 11 to 1 p.m. And it's honestly hitting the nitty gritty. So you guys definitely don't want to miss that. It's goal setting, it's business planning, it's schedules, and of course, accountability. Put all of that in place. So you don't want to miss that. Lunch will be provided. Of course, you guys love that. Not to fall asleep though. We'll probably serve it at the end. So be here, and you guys, an incentive. How many of you have your business plan? Okay, perfect. So we're actually going to put your name into a drawing if you guys have your business plan and you give it to us before our workshop starts. So if you do that, we'll put you in a drawing, and we're actually going to do a $100 Amazon gift card. So whoever put that in, a chance for a drawing. You guys, summit is next week on the 11th. Don't forget, put that in your schedule. We're reading The Greatest Salesman in the World, and I think we're midway through the book.
We are, yeah.
Right. It's an incredible book. You guys definitely want to listen to that. You guys role play every morning at 7 a.m. We've been going through the listing presentation really heavily, and it really does help with your objections on the listing presentation. So be here at 7 o'clock. In person is always better. I know the roads have been crazy, but let's kick off the new year and really conquer what we're looking for. Okay, I think that's about it on the announcements. But Happy New Year. We'll share a couple of gratitudes.
Sure.
And wins. George, come up.
All right. You go ahead. I'm gonna erase this way.
Okay. So let's share a gratitude or a win.
Well, yesterday my client told me that he was ready to buy a home, so I'm really grateful for that.
That's always nice. Good for you. And when was that? Just recently?
Yesterday, he called me yesterday.
See?
He said, I'm ready, and he already knows the home, so we are just gonna buy it.
People are ready to go,
Yes,
right?
yes.
We just need to be present there. Good job. That's awesome. Anyone else? Come on, you guys, it's the new year. Come on.
That's it, I'm just grateful.
I'm grateful for 2022 being done.
Yes, me too.
That I can say.
And just looking forward to a restart.
Yeah, I love that. That's great.
I'm grateful just to get back to work.
Yeah. I know.
love working, so good.
Well, welcome. Good crowd this morning. Well, I'm very grateful too. I was off for a few days and I really missed my second home, and this is my second home. So it's nice to be back to work and kick off the new year, and a lot of love and a lot of family time, and just, you know, we go through gratitudes. We sat around the round table and they're like, oh, here she goes. I'm like, yes, here we go. It's a good thing. So we had the whole family do our gratitudes, and honestly, when you sit down and really think about it, this company plays a big role in that. And this is like a second family, and honestly, the fundamentals of running your life, we learn it from here. So I'm very grateful, and it's good to be back. Hey,
You were in Michigan?
no, I'm
Short, or where were you?
Vegas, back, family here.
Oh, you were in Vegas. So you went somewhere at least a little more warmer.
Yeah, look,
Okay, okay.
ran into snowstorms on the way back, so that was really.
Oh, did you drive?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, good,
So
good.
grateful to be
All right. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Good to be with you all. Hey, so one of the things I've recognized that years ago, John and I, we would, we things got so structured inside of Everest. I mean, literally every morning was completely mapped out. Every afternoon seemed to be completely mapped out. Even at the end of the day at 5 o'clock, we were making recruiting calls. I mean, everything was so structured. And I remember that the weekend would come and we both would even discuss the challenges of the weekend. Now we're talking, of course, the holidays, and the challenges of the weekend were that you lost all that structure. And the thing that I've realized over the years is that the majority of people's success comes because they create a fierce, solid, dialed in, whatever you want to call it, structure to their life. And the challenge is that that as we move through our lives, we're always trying to fight that level of structure, whatever that is. And so the challenge is that as we move through our day and we move through the activities of this business, that if we're constantly fighting it, renegotiating it, our schedules, the time we do it, when we do things, when we should prospect, when we're not going to prospect, how early we get out, when we say we're going to get up and then don't get, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But what I do know this is that if you're having poor results in your life, economically, your health, or any relationship, take those three pillars: relationships, health, and your business. I can guarantee you that there's a poor structure put together. In his prime, if you're a golfer, Jack Nicklaus said these things. He said 80% of the golf swing is in the setup. 80%. Like, wow. He said, man, all it is that I know that if I get my feet the right distance, my grip correct, my back, my spine angle right, how far away I am from the ball, where I put the ball in the swing, where I stand up next to the ball. And he went through if I get all of that right, everything else seems to happen correctly. So 80%, he knew it was in the setup. So much of our success is in the setup. It is in the way in which we set up our lives. So you start looking at the beginning of a year and you have to hopefully ask yourself, man, how am I really setting my life up? How am I creating the structure that's going to then equal the goals, the dreams, and the objectives that I have? And when you start recognizing that, you start to realize really quickly that this business isn't as complicated as we might want to think it is. And at the same time, in that complication, we simplify it based on the structure that we put in place. So I just want to remind you just a couple of things that as you embark, Amy, on this new year, right, is that a ship does not have multiple ports at the same time it's trying to sail to, not multiple ones at the same time. It typically, of course, has only one port that it's sailing to. It's the same thing with an airplane. An airplane doesn't go up in the air and go, well, whatever airport is fine where we land as long as we land safely. That's not how the airplanes fly either. They have a destination. They have an airport. A ship has a destination. And this isn't a complicated concept. And everyone will go, oh, yeah, I get it. Oh, yeah, oh, for sure. I know where I'm going. Do you? Do you really know where you're going? Now, think about this morning. Here you are at 7:45 or whatever it is in the morning. Do you really know where you're going today? Do you know not only the goal that you have economically, your large goal, but do you know specifically today the structure that you're going to put in place of exactly the activities that you're supposed to do today? When you do those things, at least when you know, you can start to align your actions with that as long as you don't renegotiate away your future. So as you move through your life, just recognize again that the results of your life are based on the structure that you put together. Do you want a better life? Improve the structure. It's that simple. Improve the structure. Now, people say, what do you mean by the structure? Well, the business, I would tell you, it would be, most importantly, it would be your schedule. How are you setting up your schedule? When are you doing these three things? When are you prospecting? When are you exercising? And when are you practicing? And if you can get all three of those things done before 12 noon, I can promise you that you're going to be making a lot of money in this business. But most people all day fight this. Well, I'll do it later. I'll prospect later. I'll exercise later. I need to practice. I'll do it tomorrow. And every single thing that we do, we start procrastinating away our prospecting, our exercise, and our practice. And if you know those three things, and if you master those three things, there will never be an issue economically. The problem is that all of a sudden, and why is it that someone has to hold you accountable? Yeah, it's the insurance policy. I get that. But if you know that that is the barrier to your success, stop fighting it. In the words of the great Brenda Lee down there over there, right? Submit to the what? The process. It's amazing how often we just won't simply submit. It's always a fight, always a struggle, always a renegotiation. I'll do it later. I don't know if I'm into that. Well, that's just not me anymore. It's not what I haven't had to do that for the last 3 years. I'm not going to do it now. There's a lot of things I haven't had to do in the last 3 years. One of them is you guys didn't have to prospect, just for the record, if you didn't know that. Some of you probably figured that out. And some of you did either some light prospecting and got results really easy, but I have yet to see a lot of people pay the price of 3, 4, 5+ hours a day of prospecting. And somehow we think we've graduated from that idea. Graduated from that idea at all. In my world, I can't imagine not taking a listing a day in my world. I was talking to Jennifer yesterday about this concept. I said, because I took this listing last week with with Isaac, and it's been kind of fun to do this with him. And I said, boy, I can't imagine not taking a listing a week, but really, in fairness, I can't imagine taking a listing a day. And you say, well, how would you not take? Because I would prospect 6, 7, 8, 10 hours for a day to ensure that I had it. And some of you get 1 or 2 hours of prospect. Oh, don't you know how hard it is? It's really mentally exhausting. You know, it's tough. For years, of course, Brenda Lee and Amy here, Nick and others have heard me say this, but tough? Like what level of tough are we talking about? Like Pilgrim tough? Like you got on a ship with no motor, hoping the winds blew, and that half of you died before you got here? Tough? Like pioneers, like this great state that we live in, like 2,000 miles walking? Tough? I mean, just put perspective to what you claim to be tough. And the thing is, when you start to realize that, man, maybe there's more inside of me that I could be doing if I stopped resisting the very thing that would fix it. There's not one of you in here that should be making more money than you probably are. Or if you're worried about the market, the issue is that's how you've responded in the market. You may keep thinking that what the market was or how it was or how you got to transact in the market is acceptable today. Well, it's not. Today, it requires high levels of discipline, high levels of structure, high skill sets, high mindsets and belief systems about yourself. And you start realizing, wait a second, there's nothing about this I can't do. I mean, if you really got serious about this business, just think about this. And I know I'm going to do this next week again, or tomorrow, but I just want to point out to you guys, because I just want you to be sold today that this works. Every one of you, 240 work days in the year. If I took 240 work days in a year and I prospected for 240 work days, and I simply I prospected, and in those 240 work days, I set at least one appointment. That means I've set 240 appointments. What's interesting is that you won't attend, you only attend about 50% of them. So you attend 50% of them. Oops, my gosh, what am I doing? And of the 50% that you attend, and in this scenario, again, I always say to people, I don't care whether it's buyers or sellers, but you attend 120 appointments, which interestingly enough, I mean, can all of you squeeze like 2 appointments in your week? I don't want to put pressure on any of you, but could you put 2 appointments? Essentially, that's what it's saying. Go on 2 appointments a week is about what that's saying. Maybe just a little bit above it, right? So we go on 2. The thing says take 75%. Well, what if you only took 50% of all the buyer brokers and the listings, whatever it was that you were taking? And what if you only took 50%? You took 60. And what if only like 75% or 80 actually closed? Right. So we'll do 8 or 75 or 80, whatever. Well, that means give or take about 48 or 50. Let's just say 50 deals, and the average commission times $15,000 is the average commission. Which, what is that? How much money is that?
750.
How much?
750.
It is
50 times 15,000, I believe it is. Yeah.
What's wrong with you guys? Just kidding. And the thing, I just can't comprehend it. I can't wrap my brain around this idea. Not the 750. I can't comprehend not wrapping my brain around the idea that the only thing I have to do today is what?
Submit to the process.
Yes, and
Set one appointment.
set an appointment. Yeah, yes.
Set one.
So I don't understand. I mean, I watch people renegotiate their dreams away. I watch people, just push so hard against prospecting. I watch people so challenged with it's not how it used to be. So all that has to happen is you have to set at least one appointment a day with a buyer or seller, and you make well over $500,000. And that's I can't comprehend why it doesn't work for people. why people wait for business or just go buy business instead of going out and getting the business. But again, that's just me. I'm just thinking through it, Amy. Seems like pretty common sense to me. I don't understand why every agent isn't making $1 million. If I knew I had the access to making $1 million and my access points were to prospect 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, 8 hours a day with no upfront dollars, all I have to give is my time of either knocking or calling so that I ensure that one deal a day basically comes to me, I'd stop renegotiating myself away from my dreams. I'd live my dreams. But man, some of you are like, oh, I really tried to get 2 hours in and so much going on. What did you have going on? Possibly that could be that much. What it is you have so much going on that excuses you from the very thing that'll give you everything that you want. So just as a reminder, guys, just remember, I go back to this business. There's nothing about it you can't learn, nothing you can't do. So at least be honest with yourself. When you say you can't do something, when you say you can't buy something, when you say you can't go somewhere, when you tell your kids no, at least be honest. Say, no, it's because I choose not to prospect. Because that's the fact. Well, no, we can't go on that vacation. No, we can't do this. No, we can't have that. No, we can't buy this. Why? Because you choose to live a life based on what you feel like doing versus what you should be doing, which is prospecting. And for some reason, we fight that. And I watch it over and over and over again with agents. What happens if, just how about this? What if you didn't fight it? What if you just gave in and submitted? What if you came in with this idea that was completely from this place of openness? You were open, you were bright, you were light, and you were having fun, and you were prospecting with all of that wonderful energy. And you were totally okay because you trusted that the fact that today, no matter how many people you talk to, that you'll find at least one person who will sign a contract with you or has the potential to. And what if you gave your very best to that? What would happen? But what requires you to do, what is required of that is the one word that I said, and I just want to point this out. And that is do you trust it? The process. Do you trust the process? If we look back here and we say, hey, I can trust God, I can trust myself, I can trust the journey I'm on, but I can trust a few people that are around me saying, hey, lead the way, help me understand. And then the last is trust the process. That still hangs 13 years later, hangs on my bathroom wall on a little faded out sticky note. Trust God, trust myself, trust the journey, trust a few people, and trust the process. The journey is just the path that I'm on, just my life. Trust it, that you're on the right one. The process is what we're talking about. Prospecting, exercise, practicing, looking at your schedule and saying, how much time could I prospect today? Not how little do I have to prospect, how much do I get to prospect today? And that comes from a place of abundance, comes from a place of no resistance, comes from a place where you're open and you're bright and you're light and you're thankful and you're gracious and you have love literally abounding inside of you because you're open to helping anybody you can. So you want to talk to as many people as you can. But when you play from a place of depression, sadness, resistance, pulling back, not giving your all, resisting, pushing, all of the forcing, those are all words that will repel all the things that are supposed to draw to you. So can you convince yourself to be open? Can you declare to yourself to remain open? Because the more open you are, the more you'll receive. And that is how it works. The challenge, though, is that if you don't trust it, how do you show your trust? We'll wrap up here, but just want to remind people, how do you show your trust? How do you show it? You act. I hear people say, oh yeah, I trust the process. Oh yeah, I really trust my journey. Oh, I really trust that prospecting works. I know. And then you say you trust it. You say, You say you trust it, but your actions don't speak that. If you trusted the process, trusted the journey, you just go get on a phone and be like totally okay with the outcome because you trust that exactly what's supposed to happen is going to happen. You have no resistance. You have no doubt. You are okay with suspending your disbeliefs of what can or can't happen. You exchange your expectations for gratitude, and you start realizing that, wait a second here, what am I really capable of? What can I really do? What can I really achieve if I had no resistance? And if I just jumped both feet into the pool and I cannonballed in, what would it look like? Well, it would look like is someone who had control of their life, their business, their health, their finances, and their relationships of their life. That's what happens when you put the right structure. That's what happens when you don't resist. That's what happens when you open yourself up and you allow yourself to just live without resistance. There's a submission. There's a letting go. There's a giving in. There's a way to do that if you just simply will acknowledge it. And you can have all that this business will offer you. And it is a lot. It is so lucrative if you will stop resisting. But man, it's fascinating. I mean, I give you a lot of other words, but it is fascinating for me to watch your resistance. Because I watch it and I'm like, why? Maybe ask yourself why. What is it about the resistance? What is it that you're holding on to? What is it that you're not letting go of? What is it that if you just allowed to let things unfold, instead of being all talk, that you really did something, of major impact and consequence because of who you chose to be? And it doesn't mean you won't have the struggles, the trials, the challenges, the disappointing days, the struggling days. They'll all happen. But can you persevere past it? Can you persevere past it so that you're not a victim to the market? You're not a victim to the economy. You're not a victim to what's going on in the world that we all live in today. That's all dependent upon you. Okay? Any thoughts or comments?
I love what you said. Faith is demonstrated by action. That's so important.
Yeah.
Because we say all the time that we believe in certain things, but we don't back it up with action.
Yeah, I believe the process is going to work, and then you find a way to get over to Starbucks or to lunch with your buddy here. Right. I'm going to work my SOI. What does that mean? Well, I'm not really into this part of it, and I don't do that part of it. That's everybody in here. I watch all of you do it. I sit down with any of you in here and go, yeah. Why resist? I still. I don't get that one. I will never figure that one out. And I don't know if I ever will, because I've tried to for years to figure out you guys. And I can't even figure you out. So I can't figure you out. I can't figure anybody else out either. So, and I can make fun of you. I can make light of it. I can, come down on you and grill you and demand of you. I do all sorts of angles of it. But until you want to live in a life of no more excuses, you'll start doing the stuff we're talking about here. Most of you just get by. Aren't you just curious? This is what moves me, Ruby, truly. Aren't you just curious as to what you could really do if you stopped resisting? Aren't you just like curious? Like, what would life look like if I gave my very best in the areas of my life that I'm so focused on what I want and what I want to have? I'm just curious to see, like, what could I do? What am I capable of? Just ask yourself, when was the last time that you gave everything to something? Everything. And the word, I left it all out on the what? Field, the court, right? I left it all out there. When was the last time you did that? Was it when a coach in, football or some other sport was yelling at you to see that you're capable of more? How many of you can go back to any sport you ever played and you go, man, I just wish I could redo that because I knew I could have done so much more. I think about that. I didn't understand the concept. I understood the concept of resisting everything, fighting against everything, But I didn't understand the thing that what if I just gave everything? Complete commitment, complete resolve, completely not giving in to the resistance. Just opening myself up and going, let me see how far can I really go? That inspires me for some reason. I'm so curious in that. I hope you are too. Okay. Be here tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna spend a couple hours together. We're gonna get, of course, deeper into this. But we're gonna have some moments where we pause. You should walk out with either a business plan or a more refined plan. And as much as I would love to believe that everyone who raised their hand has really put their plan together like they should, that and two, I would be impressed with. That's awesome if you are all telling the truth. I'm impressed. Or if it was all of your peer pressure that said, oh gosh, I better act like I, and then I find out that, oh, well, it's in my head. I know what I'm doing. Okay. Okay. And you probably do have a plan. I don't deny you of that. But write it out, get clear on it, and don't waver from it. And see again what is possible for you. What's possible. That's the beauty of this world. Okay.
I just have to echo what John said, because I started and circled it, because you can have trust and you can believe, but without action, it doesn't matter.
It's irrelevant.
Because your thoughts lead to your actions and then you get results. So if you just don't do that action part,
Yeah.
there's no results. And
Yeah.
I like that too, because you can trust and you can believe, and you can just sit there and trust and believe.
Yep.
But until you do something, nothing happens.
Yeah.
So that was a big one. I mean, it's given, yeah, you have to do something, but you say you trust, you say you believe, and then what?
It's almost like then prove it, right? Like the good book says, faith without works is what?
Yeah.
Dead. I mean, right? They figured it out a long time ago. Didn't need us to show up in the 21st century to figure that part out. They knew it already. It's the same principle, guys. I just would love for you to see what's possible for you. Okay. All right, here we go.